I'm going to ask you a question, and you don't have to answer it, but to the people that are listening, I implore you to think about this as I am asking you this question. If I were to give you $1, where would you invest it in your within your business in order for you to get 10 times the amount of return of me giving you that dollar?
Firm Figures knows your money, cuts down on strife. Time to trust your future. Firm Figures, love your life.
Hi, Firma friends, back with a new show, and you're going to love my guest today. Now, I remember when I starting out in business and everybody wore a suit, was male, was middle class, and I really didn't think I'd fit in. I was wrong on many levels, some of which are obvious. So to speak to someone today who completely changes what that looks like, the digital world has opened up a whole new spectrum of opportunity. And my guest today is a classic example of that. He is a rogue risk taker, find out a bit more about that later on, turned entrepreneur and national thought leader in digital marketing and branding. He's a co-founder of Penji, Penji, an on-demand graphic design membership without limitations, which helps you achieve more with unlimited graphic design, unlimited revisions at one flat monthly rate. He's also the host of his own podcast, a business podcast called Blind Entrepreneurship, where he helps business professionals that are, love this, temporarily blind in business. His mission with his podcast and life is to empower the next generation of entrepreneurs to execute their vision. So let me introduce my guest today, Johnathan Grzybowski. Did I say that right?
You got it right. You know, it's funny. You didn't even ask. You just went ahead and did it, and you did it well. So kudos for you.
Yay!
I always get like when people introduce me on shows, they always do like Johnathan, and then they look at themselves for about maybe 2 seconds. I help them out a little bit, but you nailed it.
See, there you go. I'm good with names. Don't worry. I'll ask me next week and another thing. So, Johnathan, a few little questions to get to know you, and then I'm going to dive into your knowledge. Sure. So, first of all, make it nice and easy. Maybe Rihanna or Beyonce?
Oh, Queen Bey every day.
Oh, okay. I've had a few Rihannas
you got to
lately.
go with the person who pioneered it, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, Rihanna's great. She's a great businesswoman. I respect her with the whole Fendi stuff, and but yeah, you got to go the Queen.
Rivaling, I think Michael Jackson is the greatest entertainer at the moment.
Oh, I would 100% agree with you on that one.
Yeah, a different thing. So if I were to describe, or you were to describe what kind of car you were, what would you say? You were an executive saloon, a sports car, or like me, the 4x4?
I would say that I'm not a car guy, but I would say that I'm definitely an electric car. That maybe a little bit rough around the edges on the outside, but has a really nice interior within the car itself.
Yeah.
But it definitely has to run lean and efficient. So regardless of what it looks or how it is, it definitely has to be electric.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool. And dead or alive, what two people would you most love to meet?
Oh, wow. I would. Dead or alive? I mean, you said Michael Jackson, so I would say that like he's definitely up there in terms of performance. I'd love to see that person. I'm not too keen on like inspiration and meeting people, but I would say Jeff Bezos is definitely one. Tony Hsieh from Zappos revolutionized the way that we think about e-commerce. I mean, but Jeff Bezos did as well. But I would say Tony Hsieh was probably like the pioneer in that, and so he would be up there. I'd say those two people are pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind spending time with them too.
Yeah.
All right. So, Johnathan, give us a little history as to Johnathan with an idea to Penji.
Yeah, so we were a design agency for 5 years, 6 years, and we weren't really the best design agency in the world. We were great in the way that we delivered service, but we were terrible in the way that we serviced our customers. And in order for us, we got a lot, and the reason why we were bad at service, the reason why we were bad at the servicing part was because we didn't have the right process and procedure. And I think that is a lot to do with the success of any business. So we created this tool, and the tool allowed us to internally scale our design team, because that was the one thing that everybody always said that we were really good at, which was design. And so we created this tool, and after using the tool for about 6-ish months, we realized how big of a problem that we were solving. So we went from an agency who was helping large businesses with their web development, their marketing, etc., and we turned into ourselves. Well, the agency never really solved like a big enough problem, right? And so it left us very unfulfilled. Then we created the tool and launched Penji, and the world opened up because we solved all these problems now. We were helping people with a legitimate problem that they had and provided the solution for their problem, which is graphic design. And I'm sure the people that are listening right now, I'm sure you've experienced it as well. It is terribly, terribly difficult to find a dependable, on-demand graphic designer that if you can send a message to that person right now, would they be able to do the work in a time constraint that fits your business? And the answer to that question is most likely not. There is a majority of people who do and have that, but there's a large majority of people who don't have that luxury. So what if there was a way for a service that if you could sign up, you can talk to your designer right away and get your designs almost immediately? And that's kind of like what Penji is.
So what does Penji look like in terms of a business? Who's in it?
In terms of like how many people, like employees or the people that we're servicing?
The people that, both. What does Penji look like as an organization? Is it you and you do everything? You have a partner, you have a team, so that people can get, because one of the problems, sorry to sort of digress again, one of the problems that a lot of people that want to start businesses or going into business find is they don't know what it should look like in order to do what they tell customers they should be doing. Well, can I do it by myself? Is that a fallacy? Do I need a big team? Is it all automation? Is it automation and delegation? So sometimes having a feel for what other people's businesses who are doing it looks and feels like gives people some perspective.
Yeah. So if you had me doing graphic design for Penji, you would be thoroughly disappointed. I am not a graphic designer at all. However, I have a very keen eye for design. But I'd say I'm a systems person. I'm a process person. I'm a procedural person. I am the marketing / sales arm behind Penji. A lot of the brains and operations depends, and the magic behind Penji comes with my co-founder, and we have 35 plus people as a staff. We weren't always that way. We started this business out of right outside of like college, basically. It wasn't Penji at the time, but it was something else. But it was two guys that started had dreams, that had ideas. And we're cash flow positive. We've never received an ounce of funding. And we grew to what we are today, which is a 7-figure business. And I'm very proud to stand before you and say that, because it wasn't always a time where that was even possible, although we always dreamed that it would be. And ever since we launched Penji and we started solving problems versus just trying to go after the dollar, it revolutionized our mindset and it revolutionized our business. So now we have a 35 plus people and we're growing rapidly. We launched Penji in October 2017. We're now over 300 customers. And so that growth has a lot to do with your processes and procedures. So that's the first side of the question. The second side of the question is, who do we service? Which is, what does the organization look like when it comes to sales? And we originally, I won't go into that story, but we service agencies, we service internal marketing teams to large organizations, we service small businesses, startups, and also the print on demand industry, which a lot of people may not be know what it is, but those are the industries that we service.
Okay, so what fascinates me, first of all, I'm going to go back a bit.
Sure.
You talk about the blind, being temporarily blind in business, which is quite apt considering you do design as a design company. Now, bearing in mind that's a very creative. I know you're a process person, so am I. So I get it, but doesn't mean that we can't see the creative process. But you have said that, or you have greatly used numbers, and your business is driven by numbers as well as the processes. Now, in my world, when companies talk about being driven by numbers, they're always looking at cost cutting, bottom line, keeping expenditure low. But you talk about it in terms of increasing your sales, which is what it should be about, but so few businesses do. So one, how did you come across that or come up with that, and how do you implement that?
I'm going to ask you a question, and you don't have to answer it, but to the people that are listening, I implore you to think about this as I am asking you this question. If I were to give you $1, where would you invest it in your within your business in order for you to get 10 times the amount of return of me giving you that dollar? You have to put it in one area of your business. Now, a lot of people would think about that, right? Because I was asked that question. That's why I'm asking you. Right? Again, we don't have to answer it, but I was asked that question. I had no idea how to answer that question. I had no idea. And I was like, well, I would put, your first reaction is like, well, I'd put 25 cents into here and 50 cents into there. And maybe I'll put 33.3 cents in this little area. And now you're diversifying your portfolio to, all over the different spectrum. And our advisor told us, and like, think about this, right? And that was the moment. The minute we left that conversation, we were like, we need to be more of a data-driven company. The smartest business decisions in your life will depend on a decision based off of data. And if you're making decisions in your business that are based off of your gut feeling, then you're running your business wrong, and you're doing a disservice to your employees and to yourself. So I would implore the people that are listening to find out where your customers are coming from, find out why your customers chose you over their competitors, and then that's going to give you a better understanding of how to run your business. So when you were talking about the numbers and how we analyze numbers in our company, is where are all these people coming from? How long are they staying? Why did they choose us? How many months are they a part of the company or out of the membership? Who are the ones that use us the least? Who are the ones that use us the most? And then you can make smart decisions based off of that. You'll know how to hire, because for us, you'll know how many designs need to be done on a daily basis versus on a weekly basis and monthly basis. There's so many things that you can better understand just by documenting these things. And it doesn't have to be cute. It doesn't have to be sexy. It could be a cheesy Google Drive document, like a Google sheet. It doesn't have to be this complex algorithm that you need. It could just be fundamental of just you saying, I got a sale today. Okay, where did it come from? Who is it? What is their demographic? What are they like? Is it male, female? What is their job title, their job role? And then, are they local to me? Are they national? I mean, there's so many factors that go into it, but a lot of people don't think about it. And so once you're able to put this on a spreadsheet, you're now able to think and see more clearly, and the blindness tends to fade.
And so, well, I totally speaking to the converted here, because what I remember a while back, I dabbled in Facebook ads, and you just got instinct. You think to start, well, if you don't know what you're doing, you do so on, and then doing exactly what you said. Looked at, well, who comes, who stays, who signs up, who turns up to the webinars, and so on and so on. And we managed to get the cost per click from like about $1 to about 15 cents. Beautiful. Just by being very clear as to who. And I was like, how did that happen? I still not really sure how it happened. All we know is that if we stick to these parameters based on what we know, it plummets. And my data figures come from historical. That's my world. This is what happened after you made the sale. So I'm fascinated because you work in that, but also how to create the sale based on the data. So I mean, not to go into, open the kimono and give us all the farm,
Yeah.
but give us a taste of sort of one strategy that you employ based on the data that brings someone into your orbit.
Easy. I mean, listen, I'm an open book. I'll give you anything you want to know. And if the people that are finding value in this conversation want to ask me direct questions, I'll be more than happy to answer that and provide any access point for your audience to email me or contact me. I mean, once you get a customer, we talk to them. Yeah.
Stop it.
I know. Don't say that. That's a curse
Oh,
word.
Johnathan is so radical.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying anything crazy. I'm not like revolutionizing the world here. I'm just talking to you like I'm talking to you as if how I want to be talked to. If I'm a human being at the end of the day, as much as I am an entrepreneurial robot, and I do things very robotically throughout my day. But I like to talk to people. I like to have conversations with the people that trust us. I have conversations with the partners that we have. And so on a weekly basis, I'm calling at least one to five people that have signed up for Penji, and I thank them and I talk to them and I say, why did you sign up for Penji? What is this like? How are we helping you? How are we servicing you? And I also call some of the cancel people too. Why did you cancel? Like, is everything okay? Like, how can we service you better the next time? And then you start to log all of these questions that you have. You log all the answers, and then you find out the words to use to get more customers. So, for example, if a customer that just signs up says, well, I really love the fact that you are one flat monthly rate, then you use that one flat monthly rate vernacular, that verbiage every single time within your marketing, because you know that this is going to work, and because it's worked before. I found you via search engine optimization. Let's continue writing more blogs. Which blog did you read? Well, I read the one about why you need a logo design. I don't know. I'm just making it up. Then write more articles on your blog about logo design. So you have to talk to these people. And so a lot of people are afraid to get in front of their target audience. They're trusting you in their business. Just have the conversation.
Because sometimes you don't want to hear what they have to say. So
you're afraid that as soon as you talk to them, that they're going to cancel their service.
Yeah. So
which is scary. I get it.
Is better than no. Yeah,
exactly. You kind of just like, they pay you, but then you're like, I don't want to talk to you. You kind of like, it's like the cute person across the table in your lunch. You don't want to have a conversation with them, but you know they're there. It pays to have that conversation.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit into your book.
Let's do it.
What I love about you and what you do is, I have a big thing about young people. And between you and I, much as I love the education system, I have to be careful having children myself that I don't go, no, you don't need to go to school. But I'm a big proponent for making your own future, your own luck, and so on, without poo-pooing what education is. Now, you're an example of that. Now, you're speaking to a young person, for example. What 3 tips would you give to them if they were looking to level up from the employee mindset, I suppose, for want of a better word, to going out and doing something for themselves, bearing in mind they may not even have an idea yet, but they think, or they would love to go down that route?
Yeah. I would say leverage your age as long as you possibly can, because a young person can have conversations with people that an older person can't. I'll give you a perfect example. There's a guy that I know. He called us up the other day, and he was like, I don't understand how you infiltrated the market the way that you did. You guys are everywhere. And this isn't me bragging. I'm just giving you the story. And he asked me, he's like, what do you think I can do? And I told him, I was like, I don't really know what you can do, because this is what we did and it worked really well for us. And part of it is definitely age, because a lot of people want to help younger people. So I would say leverage your age as much as you possibly can for as long as you can. Number 2, I would say create a platform. For myself, I knew that I wouldn't be able to use the age thing for as long as I can. And I'm approaching 30. I'm 29 years old. And I knew that the age thing isn't going to last forever. So I created a platform, and the platform is a podcast. And I interview people because I can give them a stage, and I can be on the same eye level as them, right next to them in a conversation, the same way that you're talking to me right now. The fact that you're able to have some type of show builds audience, and it builds credibility. And now when you're trying to go off and do your own thing, you have a network of people that you can talk to. So leverage your age, build a network, and then find a mentor. And again, I'm sure you've asked this questions hundreds and thousands of times, and you're always going to probably hear very similar answers. But I can say that when we started, we had no idea what the heck we were doing. We started out of our parents' basements, basically, and we had no network whatsoever. We had no guidance. None of our families are entrepreneurs. And so I wish that we found a mentor early on, because we probably could have solved probably 90% of the issues that we had in very early goings in our business.
The amount of people that say that, I wish that's probably one of the, I'm not saying it's the number one, but one of the top three answers. I wish I had found a mentor earlier, or even coaching or something earlier on.
You don't, because you're stubborn.
Yeah.
Like, and then your ego too. And listen, I'll be the first one to say my ego got in the way so many times, because I just like, I can answer this. I could do this. I could do that. And the fact of the matter is that one person can just give a quick question and just completely just have you change your mindset a little bit. But you also have to find the right mentor that is in your industry, that understands you. So you can't just like start soliciting advice from random people, because if you go up to like a famous entrepreneur and ask that person for advice, they have no relevance to who you are. So you have to find something somebody that's trusted. That's
trustworthy. And I remember that happening to me. I was mentored by someone, a group of us who I greatly admire and still do, and completely wrong for where I wanted to go, completely. But they had lots of still do have a lot of influence. And I just thought this was a mistake. Yet a few years ago, I would have chewed through my own arm to just be in the same room with him. And but I'm telling you, but it was a shock for me when I suddenly thought, you're not the right mentor for what I want to do. You really aren't. And that's when I knew I was growing up in business, to just be able to make that distinction without just going along blindly because, well, he's there. And so on. So
I think that's interesting that you bring that up too, because I've kind of been disappointed in that aspect too. When I've met people and I was like, man, if I got advice from this person, I'll be good to go. And then you talk to them and then you're like, yeah, it wasn't what I wanted to hear, but such is life.
Indeed. So Johnathan, before we wrap up, what is it that you see happening in the world of business today that you have a mission to change? I mean, you're already made and will continue to make your dent in the world of graphic design. But where else do you see yourself 2-3 years from now? What is it you envisage you'll be doing?
So I would love to have more conversations about diversity in the workplace, inclusion in the workplace, and more of businesses that have some type of social impact. And for us in particular, we have a social impact and a mission-driven company that stems around diversity. And if you're listening to me, and obviously if you're watching, you can tell, but if you're listening, I am a tall white male. There's no secrets about this. And I'd say 90% of the people in our company, 95% of the people in our company don't look like me, or completely different from my cultural upbringing, my skin tone, my background, my religion, everything. And I would love for more people to look like me, to have the belief of diversity and believe that it's a melting pot of a world that we live in, and we need to believe in that. And so I'd say in the next 3 years, I would say that I would love to talk to more companies to empower them to think more socially, to hire more people to bring more of a diverse background, because the people that are diverse in your company, they can give different insights to the problems that you have. And if you have people that are similar to you, and if you have people that look like you in your workplace, you're going to get the same answers as yourself. So being able to diversify that in more ways than one, it might lead to a more profitable business, not only physically and monetarily but through money, but just spiritually and emotionally. You'll feel better about yourself because you're able to connect so many people together. So I would say that would be, outside of disrupting the design industry, that's something that's really near and dear to my heart.
Well, I didn't see that one coming, Johnathan. And actually, it works both ways, because I have two sides of the business. So one, there is the business where I go in and I do processes for people. So I move them into the cloud and we link systems, and that talks to this and this talks to that. And on the other side, I have women and divorce, which is a very different audience. But what I had with the first one, which ironically is the one that is the bigger concern, was most of my, in terms of, I don't say bigger concern, a bigger money maker, is that the 90% of my clients are middle-aged. I'm not listening to me. No, you white males in traditional brick and mortar businesses that have staff, and it's not 9 to 5 anymore, 9 till 10 and so on. It wasn't them that was the issue. It was me not thinking that they would take me seriously because I didn't look like them. So it's a two-way thing. And I had to really, you know what, I'm good at what I do. When I go talk, and then they'd be like, I never spoke price. It was like, so when do we get going? And it took years of hearing that before I actually put away my own preconceived ideas of what people would accept. So it's a double-edged, it's a difficult one, but we have moved so much on. And I watch people around me who are role models of all creeds and colors going into places where you wouldn't think they belong. I'm used to being the only female in a room, the only black person in the room, and often the only, if I go to the state, the only English-speaking female black person in the room. But it's actually, but I like that because everybody remembers me.
No, that's really good. And
I love that. You just like,
you found your groove.
I found my so I stopped being shy, and I'm an introvert, which is
nice.
Really weird.
I wouldn't expect that at all.
And really, seriously, I'm very social, and I thought introvert meant you don't speak. You're very, but not at all. I am very social. That's what it is. So it throws people. But after a few hours or so, I need to go back to the room and have a lie down, and then I'm back again. So hearing you say that, and I love people like you in the digital world are making so much change that without really having to try, just by being a role model, you show people what is possible.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic.
Do you mind if I leave with an example that I was told, and I thought it was really interesting. And this doesn't have to deal with any type of like race, creed, whatever. It could just be, it's called the doorman effect. And if you can bring somebody in the room with you that has never felt the effects of, sir, can I hold that for you? Or let me grab the door for you. And if you're able to bring that person along with you into that room to experience that doorman experience, it leaves them empowered to pass that on to the next person. Does that make sense?
My mother, who lived by that.
Yeah.
Go do the best thing you can. If there are 3 tiers of price, start with the top one. Okay, maybe you can't, and come down. Live as if that's where you already are. She wasn't very happy because it meant I just kept buying shoes and handbags. But and that's that mentality. But I come from a peer group where they were like, "Who do you think you are? Really?" Whereas as we moved forward now, I love that doorman thing. That is, and you know what? Mine is shine. Mine is rather than be the light, shine the light. That's why I love the podcast, because it's like I can talk about what you do and I can promote you all day long. But for myself, it's a little bit harder. But I love talking about other people. So I love that doorman thing. I'm all for that. Totally.
Very cool.
Totally.
Well, I love the connection that's going on here.
John, seriously, soul. Soulmates here. So tell people how they can find you, get in touch with you, find out more about you.
Sure. It's penji.co, penji.co. If you like what if you believe in the things that I believe in, if you need graphic design by any stretch of the imagination, it's unlimited graphic design. So we can do as much as we possibly can on a monthly basis. Just head over to penji.co and we'll be able to take care of you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Johnathan.
Thank you.
You have been, well, loads and loads of tips today. So I'm not even sure what we're going to put in the show notes because it might end up in a transcript instead. So it's been brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.